Yo, welcome back to another video. I'm a little late with this one, I know. This is One Piece chapter 1097, titled Ginny. I don't normally talk about the cover pages because it's just like fan art or not fan art, but like it's people requesting Oda to draw certain things unless it's like a real cover story, like a side story. But usually they're just like art requests, so I haven't talked about it. But this one is kind of relevant to the story itself. They actually requested Kuma catching salmon in the river, and this is like a young Kuma, and we see adult Ginny with him. Yeah, and like Ginny's wearing like these super short shorts and like a tank top, and it's like, okay, okay. So we flash forward, not a flashback, flash forward, 8 years after the God Valley incident. This is 30 years ago. I think Kuma's like 17 right now. Anyways, we see like the kingdom of Sorbet, and there's like a church, and we see like a big like fancy castle in the back. There's like palm trees around, and we see a young Kuma. He's wearing, kind of like what the Black Clover and like those characters use, the Magic Knight or whatever. They use that like cape thing, the half cape. He's wearing that, and on the bottom it says Pastor Bartholomew Kuma. So now it makes sense why he always carries a Bible with him afterwards once he's a warlord and all that stuff. Now the question is, how did he become a warlord in the first place? Basically, there's like these old people, and they have like arthritis and a bunch of this other shit. And they come to Kuma and they're like, "Oh hey, dearie, I like you to relieve some pain for me here." So he uses his bubble or his pawpaw fruit to take the pain away from him and from like the old ladies and the old gentlemen. And they're all like crying, like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. Can you do this on the weekends too?" We see a foot and they like stomp down. They're like, "Not even a chance. This is only a Sunday thing." And then she said, "You guys are just a bunch of freeloading old bags." They said, "We got the attention of Little Miss Cheapskate." And she's like, "Quit yapping your gums. This isn't a nursing home. Go home, you old bags." And then I think it's like I don't know if this is a guy or a girl, but one of them is like, "I'd tell you to wash your mouth the way you're talking, but like, you're such a cutie pie." And then some older guy's like, "I heard there's no end to the number of suitors that come knocking on your door." And we finally see an adult Ginny. I mean, Oda. Amazing character design. Alright, anyway, she's like, "Don't change the subject. Like, get the fuck out of here." And then they all turn around and they're like, none of them have a chance with Kumachi here. Because like Ginny likes Kuma, I guess. And then he's like, "Oh, you're too kind." And then she turns around and like yelling at him and is like, "You're the one who's too kind." Now they mentioned that they want to support Kumachi for everything that they want to do, which is Kuma. But the Celestial Dragons have been taking their monthly tribute, which is that stupid tax they do. And then they start talking about the king. They say King Bekori is a cold-hearted monster. He's hell-bent on paying the tribute. And he doesn't care whether us older farts are too sick to contribute. And he's like, if we can't, they'll lock us up. And he's the worst. The other day, an acquaintance of mine ended up starving to death in their cell. Can you believe that? I can't do an old person. And then they're like, "He won't even feed us. They won't even feed the people in jail and shit. He's even more of a cheesecake than you, Ginny." And then they're like, "If we don't stay in good health, we're just gonna die. Like, we still gotta pay the tribute, but we don't have anything to feed ourselves." And Kuma's like, "Well, if you're in pain, you can always come see me, and I'll get rid of that pain for you. So feel free to visit every week." And they're all like, "Thanks so much, Kumachi. You're the best," etc., etc. And they're all like walking away from the church. And he's like waving to them, like a good pastor. And now, remember the bubble that he extracted from Luffy after Thriller Bark when he went through all that pain and shit. And he's like, it was that red bubble. And he told Zoro, "If you want to live, take the pain." Well, there's a big ass bubble of pain. And he's like, because he just goes full on in. Absorbs all the pain from those people. Just starts screaming in pain. He's bloody. Kind of what happened with Zoro. And he's like screaming, because of all the pain. Now we see Ginny and there's like screaming in the background and she just has like her head down. And we see Ginny again, like a close-up of her face, and she's like crying. And she tells Kuma, like, "They don't even know you're doing this for them, Kuma. Like, and you keep doing this weekly and they don't know you're taking their pain." And he's like, "It can't be helped. If someone doesn't shoulder their burdens, the pain and suffering of theirs won't just disappear. It'll be left to fester, returning to haunt them again and again. More than anything, I'm just glad I can do something to make them feel better. And then we see Kuma, and he has like an ice pack on his head, and then he has like one of those nose plugs for like nosebleeds, and then she's like wiping him and shit. And Ginny's like, that's not the point. If you're like making them good, like you're taking the own damage all yourself. Like, come on, man. And he's like, oh wait, hey, we got a little food as thanks. Let's eat. And she's like, yeah, dinner. She just like completely forgot what just happened. I love Oda's designs, dude. They're so good. We see Kuma, he's laughing. Ginny has like a face full of like a sandwich or something. And it's funny, I didn't mention this, but her shirt says sister. You know, kind of like when fathers have sisters, priests, etc., etc. Since he's the pastor, he has to have some sister. But I don't think this is how sisters dress, because she's just kind of exposed. But this is just Oda being Oda and giving sexy One Piece waifu like very revealing clothing. And it's not even that revealing compared to what Nami wears, but like short shorts, a tank top. I don't think that's what someone wears at a church, but you know, it's anime, so whatever. And I'm not complaining. Now we fast forward 5 years. Kuma is now 22 years old, which means Ginny is now 26 years old. And she's like, hey, Kumachi, let's get married. And she's like laughing. And he's like, huh? We can't. And then she says, what the hell's with that reaction? Of course we can. You love me, right? Just admit it, you dope. And like the whole, like she has like hard eyes around him. And he's like, huh? He's like sweating and shit. And she's like, wouldn't it make you happy to like marry me? And in this shot, she looks exactly like Jewelry Bonnie. You remove her hair and put like Bonnie's hair and like remove the freckles a little bit, and she looks like Bonnie. And he's kind of sweating, but you can see that he's blushing. Kuma's like blushing. He's like, I'm sure it would, but like the thing is, and he's like blushing and shit. And he remembers what his father said to his wife. Just take me. I'm the one with the Buccaneer blood. My wife is normal. And he's like, I don't want to make you unhappy because of what he saw his parents went through. Now he changes the subject and he's like, oh, look at this. It's another article from the freedom fighters. They finally issued wanted posters for them after they incited riots in several countries. Dragon. And we see a young dragon, and he doesn't have the tattoo, like the markings on his face. He doesn't have that yet. He just has plain face, just no tattoos, no anything. And Kuma's like, oh, he's so cool. He's like a hero. One day I want to head out to sea and dedicate my life to saving people too. And then we hear, hello, is anyone home? And then we see a bunch of dudes, and they're like, Ginny, our sweet muse, we had a massive haul today. Please help yourself. And they're all just like in love with Ginny, so they're bringing her like fish and shit. And the Kuma's like, oh, thanks so much, Mr. Fishmonger. And then she like throws like a bucket at him. He's like, ow. And she's like, idiot. Okay, so let me get this time frame right. So first off, 30 years ago, right? He's 17. We fast forward 5 years ahead. So he's 22. Now we fast forward again 22 years ago. So this is a whole 8 years. So now he's 25. And Ginny is 29. Yeah. I think that's the case. I think I got it right. So now they say something major happened. And he's like, you people kidnapped them? Let them go. And Kuma's like, he's big as shit now. He has longer hair. He's wearing that cap, like the cap that he always wears with the ears that are sticking out. And they're all yelling out like, save us, Kumachi. Oh yeah, see, on the side it says Kuma was 25. Yeah, so I got it right. And then they're like, apparently he's a pastor from some church in the Providence area. The Southern Providence or whatever. He's like, hey pastor, didn't you hear about the new law? We're allowed to do whatever we want to you Southerners. And he yells out, you're planning to enslave them? He's like, I won't let this pass. I think this is an Ursus shock. Because he just, boom, big shockwave explodes everything, and they're like, he's a rebel. And then they yell at, my liege, this new policy, the people might find it hard to swallow. He's like, it is of no consequence. They'll soon grow accustomed to their new status. Now we get like a map of the Sorbet Kingdom, which is awesome. We get like the geography and shit. There's a bunch of woods, like wilderness, and it's called the Lawless Land. There's Kuma's church, tiny little church, and like maybe 10 houses. I mean, there's only 3 on here, but like I assume it's maybe like 5 or 6 more. And then we get the kingdom of Sorbet, which is the other half, flourishing castles, maybe markets, and a bunch of other shit. Now they said that there's gonna be like borders and shit. Oh my god, this is like real life shit right here. Now I don't know. This to me makes no sense. Either he gave himself up, because now he's in jail. Kuma's in jail. and he's like bloody. And he says, tell me, what made them arrest you too? And they're like, we raised hell trying to get them to free you, Kumachi. And I guess Ginny's in there and like a bunch of other soldiers are in there. And they're like, but they gave us a thrashing in the end and then they threw us in here. And they're all like laughing and shit. Double page spread. And Kuma's like, Ginny, this country's on the brink of becoming a cesspool of bigotry and hate. And his face is just filled with disgust. King Bakori is a celestial dragon puppet, is what Ginny's saying. The new policy was given to him from the higher ups. If you plan on starting a rebellion, you'll be signing up to fight the world government as well. And then we hear, who are these guys? Help! Your Majesty, flee! And everybody's like running for their lives. And we see a silhouette. And they're like, I'm not gonna do this voice. I'm just not gonna do it. As if we would let you, fuck! Every time I read it, I always make the voice. This is what you get? You want to be celestial dragons? And then we see another guy. And he's like, you guys make me sick. And they're like, the king's been overthrown. His slavery rules are no more. Woo! And they're like yelling and shit, you know? And they're like, thank goodness. I hated what this country was becoming. So like the people from the kingdom of like the civilians, I guess, some of them were like against these rules. There's like a bunch of people cheering like, yeah, finally. And then it says, and so the narrator comes on and says, and so, the mysterious band that saved the kingdom of Sorbet from the corruption of the world government. Looks like the man you recommend went on quite the rampage. And then we hear, you're gonna love him, dragon. Kuma, Ginny, I see you got yourselves in trouble. And you got caught. Looking for you, I was in the neighborhood. And Ginny's like, no way, big bro. And Kuma's like, is that you, Eva-chan? And the man you're with, isn't he? And then they're like, Kuma, if you're still anything like you used to be, how about coming with us and changing the world? Now we get the narrator, and he's like, the onset of the great pirate era and the tragedy of Ohara spur these freedom fighters to take up arms against the corrupt regiments of the world, starting numerous insurrections. Insurrections? What is that? I don't know what that is. It didn't take long for the two pillars of this movement to become three, as Dragon and Ivankov recruited Kuma to their case. Now we see this awesome shot of the Revolutionary Army back then. Dragon standing in the front like this. He has the same green coat, his hair blowing in the wind. We see like some other commanders, I guess, on the sides. Then we see Ginny and she's like, yeah, count me in too. And we see Ivankov smiling and we see Kuma back there. Just hands like this. He's wearing like a cape now. He looks all sick. And it says this organization would adopt a new name, one that echoed around the world, the Revolutionary Army. And then Dragon mentions, we're still lacking funds. This is what Vegapunk told him, like, you don't have the funds to like, give me, so I'm going with these guys. All our recruits get weapons, training drilled into them. I want us to grow into a boundless army spread throughout the world. Kuma's like, where did you learn about the weapons, Dragon-san? And Dragon says, I spent some time with the Navy. Unfortunately, I found no justice there. So he was a Marine. And Ivankov is like, Marine or revolutionary? He's a man determined to help others. And Kuma's like, you can rely on me, Dragon. Dragon's like, you won't regret joining us, I swear. Now we see a bunch of people cheering like, oh, look who's back. And we see Kuma with a big bag. And he's like, I'll be coming home every now and then. I worry about you guys. And then they're like, oh, you're so sweet, Kumachi. And we get the narrator again, and he says, and thus another 8 years would pass. The sun would continue to rise and set like normal until 14 years ago, a certain kingdom. Now, I think since he said 8 years passed, I think Kuma's like 32, 33, which means Ginny's like, I don't know, maybe like 36, 37? I don't know, something like that. Damn, we're really seeing them grow up before our very eyes, huh? That's crazy. Anyways, we get like a bunch of Revolutionary Army. They're sitting around. They have like guns and weapons and shit. They're probably like on a mission. And one of their dudes, maybe he's like her underling or something. And he's like, you look excited, Ginny-san. And Ginny's like, isn't that obvious? Now we see Ginny. Now this outfit she's wearing reminds me a lot of when... Do you guys remember that like volume cover or like that chapter page thing? Where Akira Toriyama drew Bulma, and there's like a motorcycle behind her. She has like a gun in her hand, like tan pants, a white tank top, and a backpack. That's kind of what Ginny's wearing here. And she's wearing like goggles on her head. She has like a band-aid on her forehead. She's smiling. She's in a mutton chop, some like striped pants, some boots. She's sitting like on a like a crate, and it says Captain of the Revolutionary Army's Eastern Forces. Now that's kind of funny because I think now Bello Betty is the one who commands the Eastern Force. She goes on and says, "Can you blame me? We're so close to the day where we get to link up with Kumachi's squadron. I'm so happy I can hardly breathe." And she's just smiling. She cracks the most adorable smile. And she just like sticks her tongue out. It's just so cute. And then they're like, "Captain Kuma, that lucky dog. He's won the heart of the lady we all admire." And they're like, "Huh? You creeps admire me? Gross." And they're like, "Those words sting, Captain." Revolutionary Army, headquarters, Baltigo. Dragon son, Dragon son. Now we see Dragon, and he has the tattoo now on his face. Remember, he didn't have it. So now, like 8 years later, he got it. So somewhere in between that time, he got the tattoo. And they say, "Ginny's been captured." And his face is just, "The enemy took us by surprise. Please forgive us." End of chapter. No break next week. I don't know who could possibly they be going up against. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed that video. I can't wait for next week because this is awesome. And I just can't wait. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Do you guys like the new lights I put back there? Just a little extra spice, on the video. Anyways, yeah. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.